We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. Allah want us to talk about it. At least that we can shout about it. We're building our foundation upon truth. Unfaithful now to think about it. Communicate and speak about it. The gospel of salvation is good news. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk,
Moorish talk. In 2 weeks on Monday at 7 p.m.
We thank you all for being a part of this show and experience with us, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Peace.
Peace. Peace.
Islam. First, I give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe. I give honor to His holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to all the leaders of the Moorish Science Civil of America. I give honor to the media team, to our members, our viewers, and I give honor to my sisters on the panel. Welcome back to season 11 of Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. Tonight's episode is Fallen with Shame. I'm Sister Ingrid Ill from Temple 71, Washington, D.C.
Islam. First I rise giving praise to our Father God Allah, honors to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali. My name is Sister T. Britt Bay from Washington, D.C., Temple number 71. Peace.
Islam, Islam, Islam. First, I rise and give all praises to Allah, honor to our holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, honors to everything that pertains to Islam, honors to each and every one of you, honors to where honor is due. This is Sister Tiffany Hopkins Bay out of Temple number 11, Philadelphia, PA. Islam.
Islam. I give praise to the great God Allah. I give honor to our holy prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to everything that my sisters said before me. And I give special honors to the guests and those that are here with us to join in our conversation this evening. My name is Sister A. Ravenel Bay from Temple number 21 in Brooklyn, New York.
Islam. I guess we'll kick it off with the topic. Again, it's called Falling with Shame. And just to open the conversation up, I thought maybe we give the definition of the word shame. And what I discovered was shame, a painful feeling of humiliation or distress caused by the consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior.
Yeah.
Islam. So praise Allah for that definition. My question is, have you forgiven yourself for the shameful things that you have done? And we said that that's embarrassment, right? That was one of the things, Sister Brooke Bay, you said it's embarrassment.
It is, if we want to say in our own words, but it said a painful feeling of humiliation. Same thing of embarrassment. Same
Praise
thing
Allah.
says. Can you repeat your question again, please?
Have you forgiven yourself for the shameful things that you have done?
Yeah, I'll speak about that. I'd like to believe that I have for the most part, because I've also experienced whereas though I thought that I had forgiven myself for some things, and I'm talking about right now, still today, I'm still having to deal with some of the shameful things that I've done in my past when I was out there in the world. It's not until It's not until certain things happen that I might think that I've forgiven myself, and I realize sometimes it could be me seeing a face, sometimes it could be me passing a certain area, um, anything that contributes to the cause of the shame. And I found myself feeling those same emotions all over again. Um, and sometimes even being in the thought a little too long, to the point that I'm feeling real bad about myself again. You know, sometimes in conversations with people, um, I can kind of see maybe residue from some of the old behaviors. And I feel some kind of way about it all over again. Like I said, those same emotions, they stir up. And what I try to do is I try to remind myself that I'm not her. It's of the old. Like, you've come a long way. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I'm also finding out about forgiving myself, it takes time. Because see, I can move on and get caught up into other things. I can get in a relationship with somebody and I can think that I've forgiven myself about some things only to find out I've only masked it, covered it up with something else. And I haven't actually really dealt with it. And for me to really deal with forgiveness, it's taking me some time. I actually thought that it was something that just saying, I forgive myself. Oh, it's not that simple. It really isn't. And I'm realizing that um I'm still in the process of forgiving myself for a lot of things. For a lot of things. And that's why the urgency for me to work on myself. I thank the prophet for saying that, to study self. That's an urgency. And even when I see the residue of some of those old behaviors or some things that I had experienced that were shameful, I have to get into that word. I really do. And I do commend myself a little that I have come some ways, and that I am working to change those things. But I praise a lot for the shame. No, I praise him for that shame. Peace.
Peace.
It's um I would have to say yes and no. No, well, yes, for some things over a course of time. Just it happens over a course of time, a little bit here, a little bit there as time goes on. Because it shouldn't be a practice for one to be really hard on oneself. We can't really I can't get a whole lot accomplished if I'm study kicking myself. You know what I'm saying? Somebody told me long time ago, take my foot from somewhere because I need both of them to stand on, right? And no, for some things, I haven't forgiven myself because I knew I was out of pocket when I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, no, I can't even go to a law really until I feel that I am sorry or regretful for the thing that I did. Now, will I repeat some of those things that that I haven't forgiven myself for? Absolutely not. But I haven't got to the point where I've forgiven myself simply because before I did the thing, I knew it wasn't proper. So, peace.
Peace.
Peace. I like that question because the question was, if I remember, it was like, have you forgiven yourself for some of the things, for some of the shameful things that you have done? So I can say to that, yes, the prophet teaches us that, you have to have a speedy reparation when you do something to others, but when you do to yourself,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
you have to have a speedy reparation for trying to take away that, because he doesn't want us to live like that. He wants us to grow. We're, working on that, being perfected, but not, of course, personally, not all of things. Some things, I could be my toughest critic, oh, you could have did this, or you should have did this, or, why didn't you do this? Or maybe when it went down that way, unless you did X, Y, and Z. Because I think your definition was like, it's an unconscious. Can you read that again? It said it
It
was in
says
your
a painful
conscious.
feeling of humiliation or distress caused by the consciousness of wrong or
Right.
foolish behavior.
Right. So my consciousness is actually causing this pain because it's all here.
Absolutely.
I'm sitting here beating up myself. Maybe the other person could have forgiven me. And even in those situations, sometimes I could be hard, like, man, how did I slip up? Or how did I do that? Or why did I do that? And so I can get caught in that. And so I try my best, even when I catch myself, to figure out what's the reparation that I need to do so that I can get out of that. Because you don't want to sit in it. That's that misery. We don't want to sit in that. But it doesn't mean, soldier never know his strength, right? Until it happens, until you have a moment or a thought, and then you realize, man, I'm still upset about that. Or I realize I'm beating up myself for that problem. And until I get tired, then I'm like, what do I need to do to get out? Because I love what the sister said. You need both feet to stand on. How do you move forward? And you have to move forward. And the prophet's going to give you everything you need to save yourself. But now I got to figure out what that is. Because sometimes just saying you're right. Sometimes saying you're sorry is not enough. Sometimes you want to do more. You feel like you need to do more. Peace.
Peace. Praise Allah for all of you all's demonstration, because while you all were talking, I was just reflecting on certain stuff, and like everybody hit different points, and I was just thinking to myself, praise Allah for the Moorish Temple of America, praise Allah for the Prophet, because the Prophet said, if I can get you to think, you save yourself. And it's so deep because there's levels to this, there's levels to everything. And so I think that a part of the issue that we're faced with when we're ashamed of something is, are we ashamed because we got caught? Because a lot of times we do things or say things or think things in our mind, and we be like, it's not that deep because nobody knows that I thought that or I felt that way or whatever the case may be. So, being ashamed, that embarrassment or feeling like you got caught, everything that the sister said, and that definition is like, oh, the light's on you, so now you feel some type of way. Yeah. But would you have felt some type of way if the light wasn't on you? See, that's the go within. That's the dig yourself type situation. At times we do things and we may know that they're not right, but we don't feel no type of way until somebody calls us on it. And then it's like, you know what? I should dig myself. I should check myself because that wasn't right. We got to get to a point where we're not doing those things to ourselves or other people. The meditation and the studying yourself, it forces you to work on yourself so that you don't have those thoughts, you don't have those actions, you don't go there, because you know that that's not Moorish like. That's not what we do. So the more you practice that, the more you perfectly practice correcting yourself, the more that you will not have those different thoughts or different actions or whatever it is that is causing you to not be who you say you are. So, I'm forever grateful. I wanted to take a quick reading because this spoke to me when I had came up with this question. This is chapter 40, page 49, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, the Instability of Man. And I'm going to go down to instruction 4. I'm just going to read instruction 4 and 5. The man who neglecteth his present concerns to revive how he will behave when greater, feedeth himself with wind, while his bread is eaten by another. Act as thy becometh thee in thy present station, and in more exalted ones thy face shall not be ashamed. So that goes to what I was just speaking about, like, if we focus on ourselves and the positive and the good that we're able to do, we won't have to worry about having somebody see us in a certain light or in a certain way that is not becoming. If we raise our thoughts and act how we supposed to. With that, I say peace.
Mhm.
And if that
Yes.
doesn't work, it is said that the prophet said, keep your wrongdoings out of the eyesight of the public. That means you and one other person. It may just be you and one other person. That's your public.
That's right.
In that moment,
Mhm.
that's your public. Don't do wrong. Don't, if the other person is doing wrong, don't
Mm-hmm.
like follow suit. Try to pull them into where you are,
Exactly.
whether
Mhm.
it's an act,
Mhm.
word, or deed. Because a lot of times
Exactly.
it
That's
be
right.
in word. Sometimes it don't necessarily be in
Mm.
the act. But the act comes from how those words may make another individual feel too, and
True.
that is your repercussion. But yeah,
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
so
You know,
true.
when you were reading that, I thought you were going to one chapter, you went to another, because it made me think about sincerity. You know,
Mm-hmm.
these virtues that we have, and it says in sincerity, it says the tongue of the sincere is rooted in heart.
Mm-hmm.
Hypocrisy and deceit have no place in his words. You know, he blusheth at falsehood and is founded. That's part of that shame.
That's
You know what
right.
I mean? But in speaking the truth, he had the steady eye. And so, you know, and then when I realized, you were like, oh, instability, that's the instability that's in us.
That's
But he
right.
gave us a chapter about how to be sincere. Like that's what
Mm-hmm.
we're supposed to be, you know. And if we're sincere, then we should be able to be making sure that when we're speaking in thought, word, or deed, it's coming from our heart, that inner heart, you know, that Allah within us. That's where it's supposed to come. But you know, we all truth and falsehood strangely mixed.
Yes.
True.
Strangely mixed.
And I just wanted to briefly say, I think forgiveness, whether it's yourself or anyone else, it takes time, because
Absolutely.
you can think that you're over something that you may have done to somebody, and it's are constantly replaying it in your mind, like, why did I do that, or why did I say that? You're trying to, I know for me personally, because I can only speak from my own situation, I will constantly think of how I could have done it better and
Mm-hmm.
try my best to not make those same mistakes or cause any injuries to someone again, because I wouldn't want anybody to feel that way. And be honest, I don't want to feel that way myself,
That's
because
right.
I'm going to sit here 10 years later and still be thinking why I did something that I knew better than.
Yeah.
So praise Allah.
yeah, praise the Lord.
Yes.
Are there particular methods that you use to stand back up after you've fallen? What are they?
Mm.
I would say I pray, and like I said, reflection, because reflection is the business of man. um, and trying to make that speedy reparation, because, like, even though how, listen, we all human, we're all bound down to this carnal flesh, and sometimes we just have an attitude with somebody just for the sake of having an attitude. And I'm always a person that's like, well, did I do something? Like, let me replay everything in my mind to make sure I wasn't acting some type of way. And I would hope that whoever may have felt that I did do something, like, you would be adult enough to come to me and say, listen, this is what I perceived, and this is what hurt me, or this is what made me feel some type of way. I think if we had enough of those type of conversations, we would not have as many issues that we have. But however, some people don't do that. And so for me, being a person that does not like confrontation, I always go back in my mind over and over again, like, well, what did I do something? Did I say something a little off? And if that was the case and I find that I did, I want to talk to that person, because I don't, like I said before, I don't want nobody feeling no type of way. Because 9 times out of 10, it was a misunderstanding. It was a
Mhm.
misunderstanding, or it wasn't something that was necessarily directed at you. So for me, I always, when I have fallen, whether it's with myself or someone else, I always refer back to self, because that's That's our first degree. It's the first thing that Allah tells us, know thyself and thy Father God Allah. So it's important to know yourself.
Mhm.
Praise Allah.
I
I
agree.
can say that. Oh, go ahead, sis.
Nah, I'm good. Go ahead.
Um, this is that particular method to rise up. I agree with the sister. Prayer is definitely one. But I think having children, I've realized that, when you see them do things, you don't like to see them suffering. Because essentially, at a certain point, you don't want to beat yourself up so much so that you're suffering from a pain that even if because you said pick yourself up. So you've forgiven, you moved on. But sometimes, and I know I can see myself, sometimes I still beat myself up for that, for whatever it is, because I didn't intend to have their injury, or I didn't intend to, particularly if you didn't intend to, that really gets me. If like I didn't mean to do something and it is what it is. And I think prayer is one, but I've been trying to do what I tell my children to do, which is you go to Allah and you say your prayers and you ask if you can forgive yourself, ask Allah to forgive yourself and ask for the lesson and don't ruminate and move on. And that's hard. That's hard. I know for me, but that's what I'm teaching. But it's hard. And I try my best because we know that human hearts should be our altars. You know what I mean? So, in my mind, if I did that wrong to, and I'm feeling from whatever shame from it, instead of me spending time thinking about it playing in my head, because I can go there, how can I give my gift of altar to the human heart? How can I repay humanity in a different way? And I'll say that to them. And so I have to force myself to say that, because that gift of giving will also help heal me, by doing what I know should be done right, to kind of forgive myself, but to help someone else. So that's something that I do to try to stand myself up, because sometimes you fall off. That lower self is strong. It'd be like, nah, girl, you just go sit over there and you just take it. You should feel bad, even if they said it was okay. And I think when that definition, it made me think about shame. Sometimes we can beat up ourselves mentally more than the person could even. You can step on someone's shoe and be like, oh, I'm so sorry, you feel real bad. I'm like, I'm gonna try to clean it. They're like, girl, it's okay, these are old shoes. Like, no, let me fix it. You feeling so bad about the thing, and they moved on. You need to still figure out how to move on. So I try to do that, is to try to find ways to give with love.
It sounds like the thought of affliction wounds deeper than the affliction itself.
Yes.
Wow.
That's
We keep thinking
exactly it.
about it, they're just knocking you upside your head, but that's because we in our head.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wow.
That was good.
Yeah. I ought to would first I asked for forgiveness. I had to think about what it was I did, what made me feel so shameful. And I'd be like, wow, Allah, please forgive me for that and help me to correct that. Show me ways that I can maneuver through this world without that being in my life, or with that being a go-to. And then practice not doing it anymore. It's real simple for me. In most things. Some things it take a little longer than others. Like you were saying, the Reverend Arbe, I ponder on, wow, how did I get to that point? Like, how did I go wrong? How did I go left when I knew to go right? I knew to go right, but I went left, right? How did I do that? And how do I get back? How do I correct this? How do I make amends? So praise Allah for the prophet, because everything that I come to terms with is something that I've learned from him, you know. So praise Allah. Peace.
Praise Allah. I agree with everything. It's really not a whole lot left for me to say, because I totally agree with everything that you all have said. Most importantly is just like Jesus did, going in the wilderness. I have to do that. It's important that I see me in that shameful act. I can't fix anything. I can't change anything until I see the whole picture of me. And sometimes I have to talk out loud to myself about the act. I need to hear it for myself. I need to hear what it is that I've done, how I even knew what to do, the right thing to do, and still I chose to feed my lower self. Um, that in the process of me sitting down, I go through a lot because I'm not only talking out loud to myself, I'm talking to Allah. And I don't always get to hear from him depending on how hard that fall was. I don't hear from him right away all the time. So a lot of that, I'm going through a lot of hurt, a lot of crying, and I know that that's the process. That's the part that I need. I use that. I use that shame or that pain. I use it as my stepping stone. And the reflection part, I not only reflect on how it happened, examining, what took place, when my thoughts was, how I rationalized with it. I also reflect on other instances or other falls that I had and what I did to come through those, or what I did to at least be able to stand back up on my feet. That helps me be a little stronger over it and not beat myself up the entire time. I also have to believe in myself to be able to move forward. That's important because some of my falls, I mean, they've really whooped up on me. And so I have to believe in me along with the instructions. And then with all that being said, just start putting into motion. Just start putting things in motion. Even when I don't feel like moving. Because sometimes the pain have you down. But I know, Tracy, the world's still spinning. Life don't stop. So you got to keep pushing and deal with this in the process of your pushing. The acceptance or the reality that whatever has happened, there's a lesson in that. That's the golden nugget for me. I want the lesson. I want to get the lesson. So I'm going to go through whatever it is I have to go through. But I keep in mind that the body don't always want to do what's right. I have to remember that carnal side of me. It don't always want to do what's right. So that's about it. I got to believe in me, and I communicate as much as I can with Allah. I've asked for the forgiveness. Can I forgive myself? But now is, I just got to put the wheels in motion with the instructions that I do know.
Praise Allah.
Peace.
When you were talking about that belief, it made me think about, our 3 steps. You got to believe. It says, belief is first, right? This is what man thinks perhaps is true. You're trying to believe that you're going to get through it. Then you got to have faith. Faith is next. This is what man knows is true. Allah's going to get you through it. And then its fruition is the last. And this is man himself, the truth. And when you
That's
said that, I was
it.
like, yeah, because
Yeah.
sometimes you got to step. And then you got to remember, too, I may want to feel a certain way, or I may ask Allah for it, but don't mean that he's ready to allow me to do that. Then I can't just say, okay, I want the lesson, and he'd be like, okay, here it is. Maybe you need to sit here for a minute. Allah knows the time and the place for when you're supposed to have these secret lessons revealed to you. And so we have to have that faith and that fruition, knowing that Allah's going to guide us through it. We got to walk through that path.
Yes.
That's the path.
Praise Allah.
I think I'm gonna ask the next question, which is, what does shame mean to you, and how does it affect you in your spirit?
That's a good question. To me, shame means embarrassment. It means everything the definition says. Embarrassment, hurt. You know, I'm gonna tell you something that I experienced on a big fall that I had during the pandemic. That thing set me back. And let me say this. When you know that you've accepted or you've bought into the things that the Lord self offers, which is the pleasure, joy, and satisfying gain, you know this. You don't think about what it gives, though, until you get it. And you get that at the end, after the fact, which is the unrest, misery, and death. And I have experienced shame being so heavy on me to the point that I really ain't even know how to even go to Allah. I felt, and this is where it affects my spirit, I didn't even feel worthy to even ask him for forgiveness because I knew better. Sometimes there have been situations where I've done this same thing 1,000 times and kept going and saying, forgive me, forgive me. But this one time, I really felt like, it was like, of course, I made myself still ask him, but I just didn't feel worthy. I felt real bad. I didn't feel like I was a part of the movement. I'm looking at other people in the movement whose lives appear to be on track. They've been just steady keeping up and staying on point. I felt alone. I felt you the only one still doing the stupid stuff. It was hard. That thing hurt me to the point that I worked real hard. I worked real hard at staying on this course. As much as it may hurt sometimes to have to apologize to somebody, I got to remember you did this. You know, you did this to yourself. So it affects that fall really did something to me. But let me say this, the flip side of that. Praise Allah for the shame. Again, I say that because of the fact that I use that shame, I use that pain and that hurt to rise above whatever it is that I've done. I apply the opposite of the shame. I use that extra added strength that I'm getting from just the acceptance that you're weak or that you were weak at that time. But this is what you need to do. And who's to say you're not going to make other mistakes because you're not perfect? You're going to make some more mistakes, but each time, Tracy, you make these mistakes, know that you are learning a valuable lesson that's making you stronger and stronger and stronger. Stop expecting to be perfect right now, today, tomorrow. Don't happen like that. But each step that you're taking, you're working towards the perfection. I got to speak these things loud. That's why that's one of the reasons why I do appreciate the fact that I live by myself, because I talk a lot. I talk a lot to me. Some people they'll say, oh, you crazy, you talk to yourself. No, I trust my conversation with myself because it's filtered through the word of Allah. So I trust my conversations. I'm going to keep it 100 with me. Right, wrong, and indifference. I'm going to do that with me today. So that's the good side. That's the flip side of what the shame does to me and what it does to my spirit and what it looks like. I know that Allah forgives me. I know that He loves me. I know that I can be better than that. And I know that I don't have to go back to that. I have to apply these instructions, and I got to be sincere about it. But I got to have the courage to even look at me. So that's how that looks for me. I like the shame, and I like what it does to me because I use it to my advantage, my higher self advantage. I use that piece.
Sister, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. My question is, what does shame mean to you, and how does it affect your spirit?
Ooh, well, real quick, makes me feel cold, dirty, lonely, unworthy at times. But it reminds me that I created this shame from the actions of my lower self too. It always comes back to me, right? I'm responsible for the way that I feel. So, peace.
Islam. Praise Allah for what everyone else said. The word that keeps coming to my mind about how I feel is disappointed. Disappointed in self. I think that when you're in that state of being feeling shame or being shameful, as everyone said, it's something that you 9 times out of 10 brought on yourself. And now you sitting there like not knowing how to fix it, or you know what I'm saying, questioning yourself as to why you even went that route. So I would definitely say disappointment is my first feeling and thought. Peace.
Peace. Thank you,
What
sisters.
what makes it shameful? The act itself, the consequences, or both? And why do you think that is?
Say that one more time.
What makes it shameful? The act itself, the consequences, or both? And
Both.
I'll speak on that. Oh, go ahead, Sister Hopper, you
No,
was
no,
gonna
I was
go.
just gonna say both.
Yeah,
I had to think about it.
I'm gonna say both because let me say this. I always want it to appear that I got everything under control, but the reality is I don't always have everything under control. And when something like that happens, all I could think about are my children, my parents, people I know look up for me. Some expect much. And then I think about, I have to say this, being totally honest. There have been times where I wore that tinseled coat. Yeah. And now the coat is off. I've been stripped. And it's like, what? You did what? Yeah. I was wearing that coat heavy, floor length, covering it all up. And so that's what makes it shameful for me is the fact that I've been exposed. Because I done walked around here. I might have seen somebody else fall from the very same thing that I've just fallen from. I talked about them real bad about it. How could she, what? She did what? And at the same time that I'm talking about her doing what she doing, I'm over here doing the same thing. But now, guess what? They done dropped the curtains on you. I don't even know what to do, what to say at this point. Because I feel just that low. Because I've been hiding, presenting myself as if I'm greater than or better than. Yeah, I've walked that path. And sometimes I got to check myself still today. Yeah, because sometimes the thoughts be going there. It does, and I gotta check myself. So I mean, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I have to check myself because sometimes, yeah, it still get like that. It tries to anyway. And there are sometimes that it gets through, and no sooner than it gets through, I have to ask for forgiveness. Because see, I gotta first remember what that feels like, what that shame feel like, and what it look like. So yeah, it's both.
I just want to say praise a lot, and I appreciate you talk about the coat. I really do. I think that's something that's not talked about enough. You know, we wear that polished coat when we feel like we have the vanity. Vanity is on board. That's what it is. I praise a lot because while you were speaking, I thought about asking those extra questions because, like, what makes you feel like it's cool for you to put that coat on? Like, what's wrong with you? Sometimes we gotta get into ourselves and our thoughts and be like, who are you to think that you get to wear a polished coat and act like there's nothing wrong with you? There is. You got to get into yourself. I know me personally, I have them conversations with myself like what's going on? You know you need to get into yourself, get in tune because here's at the end of the day, you may think that you are hiding something from the people on this carnal plane, right? But Allah sees all. Allah sees all. And at the end of the day, that's really who you have to answer to.
That's right.
And when you go up there and you got to meet with Allah, because see, you want to be, our ultimate goal is to be back at one with Allah.
Yes.
And so you won't have to answer for some things.
Yes.
So when you get there, how you going to explain yourself? You got to check yourself now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be so vain and have your head above the clouds thinking that nobody sees what you're doing. Allah sees it.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, for me, that's who's checking me.
That's right.
Because see, vanity won't allow you to check yourself. And you have to be checked and suffer those consequences that come from Allah. Because see, somebody can see you doing something or saying something, whatever the case may be. They may say something, they might whisper about it, they may whatever. But ultimately, Allah gonna check you. That's just
right.
what it is.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's just what it is. Mm-hmm. So being shameful in the act or the consequence, listen, at the end of the day, Allah is God. Allah gonna take care of it. So you might as well get yourself in order now. That's what I've been telling myself. Like you might as well just stop. You might come on now, because you're gonna answer for it later. Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons why I mind my business. I mind my business. Why? Because some things I don't want to know about what everybody got going on. I don't want to know. Because when somebody come ask me or come whisper about something, I'll be like, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. That's safe. That's safe for me. Mm-hmm. That is my safety net. Like, I have no idea. I don't know what happened. That's not me. And it's just a matter of trying to be in tune with Allah in the spirit. I don't want to worry about who that person talking to and dealing with and got going. I don't want none of that. Because I'm focused on making sure that I am focusing on me and what I'm doing right and wrong. Because I know, listen, Sister T. Hopkins Bay, at times I can have an attitude. I'm just, listen, I know me. I can have an attitude. I can say things that are not in the best way. I can look at somebody, looks, oh, Allah, forgive me. Because my daughter, my oldest daughter, she got them looks. And Allah gonna give you what you gave your parents. Praise Allah. But it makes you also conscious of it. Like, watch how you look at people. Mm-hmm. Now I gotta teach her. Watch how you look at people. You know what I'm saying? Because you can say a lot with your eyes and your facial expression without opening your mouth.
You sure can.
So, but praise the Lord for knowing that it's vanity and knowing that you have to focus on you in order to correct yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Vanity is beyond them all.
Mm-hmm.
Praise the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And real quick, can I say, I want to say real quick, it's not a bad thing to recognize where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because in order for us to move forward, we got to see just exactly where we are. And I'm saying this to say I don't want anybody to feel ashamed to even expose themselves.
Right.
Wherever you are, that's where you are. And that's where Allah gonna deal with you right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what it is. It's nothing bad. Because listen, these behaviors are habit form. So you're gonna be working on them for a minute. Some of the shame, some of the things we've dealt with, we don't know how scarred or how deep that scar goes. So we just don't know how long. I just wanted to say that to somebody, to anybody, as well as to myself. It's not a bad thing that we see that we stuck or we still got some of our old behavior. It's good that you see it.
Mm-hmm.
So that you don't be walking around thinking that, oh, well, I haven't got that part down. No.
Mm-hmm.
You still got to work on that too. That's a good thing that you can even see it. Praise the Lord when we see our faults and failings.
Mm-hmm. Sis, when you say that, because the shame that you're feeling in a way is a gift, because you at least know that you should be working on something.
Right.
And when we talk about that tinsel coat, you don't even know that you should be ashamed for the things that you're doing.
Right.
Okay.
That's wrong.
Because, you know what I mean? Because you're like,
right.
In the chapter is like, what Jesus said, like, those have no sin, cast that, and it's like, you're making fun of somebody for maybe their decisions, yet you over here secretly lusting, and you ain't even ashamed about it.
See what
Wait
I'm
a
saying?
minute. You're not even ashamed about it, because you just,
yes.
So the shame in many ways, because it's not like someone saying, tag, I'm shaming you. It's coming from within.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So in some ways, it's something that's you're being spoken to be awakened, to be given a lesson on something. So that question, when you said the act of the consequence, I was going to go with the both, but you know what? The consequence for me is even more, because I may have done something, but now I have to deal with the lesson around it. Now I got to sit back and say, wait a minute. Okay, we created. How did I get here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do I need to do reparations? What do I need to do to figure it out? How do I get better? But more importantly, how do I not do it again? And sometimes when you're looking at what do I need to do, not do again, it might mean that you have to change something totally different about yourself. It may not be about that act. It may be about how you move. That's a whole different thing. I can speak about myself. Sometimes I be moving. I'm like, let's get everything done. But in that action of movement, sometimes I'm not aware of the people, the situations, the moments, the mood. I'm thinking about, I'm at home. Okay, everybody, we got to do this. And I might miss that my child is not happy about something, because I'm like, we got to get these done. We got 1 hour. Okay. But the lesson is, okay, yeah, you heard him, and I can't say, well, I'm sorry and I feel better. I actually got to change my whole mood. We got to check in. I got to stop. I gotta check in and say, okay, wait a minute, how we doing? I got to read the situation a little bit better before I go into work mode, mommy work mode, so that I don't accidentally hurt somebody's feelings. Because whether you hurt that person accidentally or not, there's still a consequence with it.
Yeah,
that's right.
And then that's what it's shame, because I'm like, wait, I didn't mean to do that. I'm trying to do my best, but I did it in a way that didn't work, because we all tie with one another, because it's hard. Here's the deal: we are all connected.
Yes.
Together.
Yes.
So I can try to say I didn't mean to do it. It ain't me. That's that vanity. It ain't me. I'm trying to do it. But the reality is, we all connected to each other, and since we're connected to everybody, we have to learn how to work with everybody.
Yes. Absolutely.
Were you finished, sister?
Go ahead, sis. Yeah, I could, but I'm looking. I want to get you in. I know I'm looking at time.
Oh, my fault. I would say both as well. It went back. It made me think of something Sister Hawkins Bay was saying earlier about: are you shameful because you got found out, or are you shameful just because of the act that you did, right?
Yeah.
And definitely both. And I didn't get found out, right? I rarely ever get found out, and I still be feeling bad, like
Mm-hmm.
real bad, like real bad. And there was uh this time, right? And I'm trying to be as quick as possible. I was staying with this young lady, and I think I was probably about 28 at the time, and she was probably 26. This sister worked 2 jobs, kept her apartment, had a car. You know, she was living a good young life, right? I was in my mess, and I used to throw rocks up to her window so she can come down to let me in the building. Now, this be like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Mind you, she get up about 5 to go to work. She got 2 jobs, right? Now here I am about to walk into her home and lay on her couch and go to sleep because I done been ripping and running the streets all night. And she about to go to work. So there was one night I walked up to the building and I was getting ready to throw a rock and I just started crying. I said, I can't do it. I feel shameful. She about to get up and go to work, and I'm about to go get on her couch, and I done been ripping around the streets. I ain't bring no money in here to give her. How dare I? I went and slept in Malcolm X Park. It's a beautiful park, but it's scary at night.
It sure is.
It's a beautiful park. If you ever come to
It's a
DC,
beautiful
go check out
part.
Malcolm X Park. But it's scary at night, and that was probably the most shameful time of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Praise Allah. That's beautiful. Beautiful story.
All right.
Sure. We can squeak in one more. We got a few minutes.
Have you ever? Let's see. Have you ever been able to share your shortcomings or falling while in it, or do you wait until it's past?
I wait till it's past. I have to be honest. Just being honest. There are times when um I have done something that I'm not proud of or said something that I'm not proud of, and I will wait until I have thought about it to acknowledge that it was not right or not the best thing to do or say. And just again trying to correct my wrongs with whoever I was dealing with at that time or saying it to. But yeah, I don't think I've corrected it right when I was in it. I think with my children, I probably have. I'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way." But I think your children are a little easier to forgive you, because they, they know. Like at times you get a little stressed, a little high strung, especially temper wise. But other people, I'll wait definitely.
I say it depends on what seems best at the time, because you could talk to some people and they can add, what is it, insult to injury. So I'm careful about that. And then depending on how hard or how effective the shortcoming is, I may need to. I definitely have to be led, because I got to know, first of all, before I jump out there and get to talking, that I'm protected. Because Allah says Allah is our protector and our guide, right? So I got to know that I'm protected, because, like I said, everybody don't have my best interests at heart, and I got to make sure that I'm firm with myself with what has happened.
I can't hear her, sis. I can't hear you. Say something. Mm-mm.
No.
Okay.
Praise Allah.
Okay. Grill, you want to give your thoughts?
Um, I'm with Sister Hawkins. Say most, I guess too. Depending on what it is, but most of the time I can share it after I've overcome it, because I can I may be sharing it for the reasons of someone else may be going through it. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much be my reason for sharing it, to give them my experience on the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I agree with you. The only thing I will bring people that are close to me. The prophet said, others see you so plainly. And I will go to, my husband or to someone who may know the other person to give their perspective to help me firm up, because I want to make sure that, you know, maybe Allah will give them the message so I can get the message faster. Like, well, what went off course? And usually sometimes when it's in that situation, they'll give you a perspective that you didn't even see, that I didn't even see. So I will sometimes, maybe not that person, but I'll maybe ask another close person to me that I feel like, can understand my heart, understand the problem, and maybe understand the person, so they can give me a different point of view to understand that. You welcome back with us. You back with us, Sister Perfect?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Me neither. You just went straight out. You want to say your thought before we wrap up, sis? Finish it.
I don't even know where I stopped. So
Praise Allah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we are at the close of our show, our season opener of season 11 of Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. We want to thank everybody for being with us today. A few quick announcements. We also know that on February 28th, Sakara Sacred Healing will be back. So you're going to get both of the wonderful shows coming back in action with you. If you follow us on Facebook, please like, subscribe, and share, as well as on YouTube. You're also going to know that we have Elders Days coming up in the next few weeks. It's the first Sunday in March, and Tag Days, March 17th. And we just had a wonderful announcement. Maybe we can get the flyer up really quickly, that on April 19th through the 20th, there'll be the 95th Moorish National Sixes Auxiliary Anniversary Spring Gala, and it'll be hosted in St. Louis, Missouri. There'll be more information coming out, but just save those dates. They're going to have a Holy Day meeting on that Friday, and then that Saturday, they're going to have their Sisters Workshop, and then an evening buffet. So thank you, St. Louis, for being able to host all the sisters and taking care of us. And we're going to be back in 2 weeks for our next show. And anything else I missed, sisters? Oh, Holy Day meeting, Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Sunday school, 2 p.m. And I think I got everything else. All right. Thank you all. Peace.
peace.
Girl talk, real talk.
Welcome back to Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish
Moorish
Talk.
talk. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. Allah want us to talk about it. At least that we can shout about it. We're building our foundation upon truth. Unfaithful now to think about it. Communicate and speak about it. The gospel of salvation is good news. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. We're building when the girls
Please
are
tune in
talking Moorish
to
talking,
Girl Talk, Moorish Talk in 2 weeks on Monday at 7 p.m.
We thank you all for being a part of this show and experience with us, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.